If you've ever wished that you could have crystal clear vision for making business decisions, this video is for you. Today I'm going to talk about how you can have 20/20 vision for making the decisions that are most important in your business. I'm Lori Reeves, founder and CEO of BrandStrength. I'm a fulfillment strategist and coach, and I help service providers develop a professional and high-value service that they're ready to market, sell, and deliver. As a business owner, there are lots of decisions that you need to make to move your business forward. It can be really difficult to make those decisions if you're not sure how they're going to turn out. A lot of times in my business, I've wished that I could just have the clearest of vision so that I could make a decision knowing what was going to happen and how it would turn out. Unfortunately, we don't have 20/20 vision into the future. We make decisions and it's hard to know what's going to happen with them. However, you can have 20/20 vision for making those business decisions if you take action and then look backwards. As they say, hindsight is 20/20. So the best way to do this is to make small decisions, put them in place, and then give yourself a certain amount of time before you evaluate that decision. If you make a bunch of decisions and you never evaluate how those decisions went, then you can't use your 20/20 vision, which you have by looking backwards. So in order to use that 20/20 vision, you just need to set yourself a time when you will turn around, look backwards, and evaluate what happened. Now that can sound kind of iffy, like how do I evaluate what happened? And really what I'm talking about is 3 simple questions you can ask yourself. What went well? What did not go well? And what would I do differently if I were to do the same thing again? If you set yourself an amount of time that you know you're going to give that decision to have until you do that evaluation, then you'll know that you can have a time in the future when you can go back and use your hindsight to see what went well, what didn't go well, and what would you do differently. That's the only way you're going to have 20/20 vision for making those business decisions. But again, as I just said, if you don't ever remind yourself to go back and evaluate, then making those decisions and moving forward isn't going to help you, because you're going to make decision after decision after decision without any evaluation of what went well last time and what should I be doing again and what should I stop doing. So what I like to do in my business is I set time ranges for when I evaluate. I typically evaluate every single day. At the end of the day, I sit down and I ask myself, of all the things I did today, what went well? What didn't go so well? And what would I do differently? I also do the same thing at the end of every week and the end of every month. And that gives me 3 opportunities to look at what I'm doing and change course if necessary. Now, I learned this simple evaluation tool from Stacey Bayman, who's one of my mentors, but I absolutely love the simplicity and how easy it is to put into place. At the end of every day, I can look at what I did all day and I can say to myself, if things didn't go at the end of the day like I wish they would, what could have changed? By doing this kind of evaluation, I get to look at what I'm doing and change course very frequently. I'm not just flying by the seat of my pants, seeing what happens, and then whatever happens is what happens. I make decisions, I act upon them, and then I evaluate. That has helped me add practices into my business, such as making sure I put things in a calendar. I time block out every Monday morning. I time block what my whole week will look like based on what I want to accomplish that week and where the pockets of free time in my schedule are. So at the end of the day, I evaluate what went well today, what didn't go well, what would I do differently tomorrow. At the end of the week, I can evaluate, did I get everything that I wanted to get done this week done? If so, what made that go well? What didn't go so well? And what would I do differently next week? When I do this on a regular basis, it helps me use my hindsight to make decisions, to see how the decisions that I've made are working out for me and to let me change. A lot of times entrepreneurs want to get all the decision making done before they take action. But the thing is, you can't do that. You have to move forward in order to see back. It reminds me of one of my very favorite quotes: you can't steer a parked car. So start taking action, and then hold yourself accountable to evaluate the actions you're taking so that you know at the end of each day, at the end of each week, at the end of each month, whenever you decide to evaluate, that you are looking at what has been done so that you can move forward with that knowledge of what worked and some ideas of what you could do differently. If you have trouble taking action in your business, let me know. Reach out, comment on this video, send me a message. This is exactly what I help people with, because putting together a whole business or a whole program can feel very overwhelming, and it can be hard to even start taking action. So if you find yourself in that place, reach out to me and let's have a conversation, because I can help you put a plan in place and then start executing that plan, all the while evaluating how everything is going so that you can see that you're making progress and change course as necessary. I hope this video was helpful. If you liked it, give it a like or subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you back here again next week.